Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Community Works. I'm Bernadette Welsh, your host. Each one of our shows highlights a local nonprofit in our state. The goal is to educate you, our viewers, about the great work that's going on all around us every day by local agencies and their supporters. When people help their neighbors, everybody benefits. The focus of today's show is the work of the Women and Family Life Center located in Guilford. We all face challenges in life, but women especially are expected to be loving and strong, brave and kind, no matter what life throws at us. Now, this is not always easy, and even in the best of times can be a challenge. Sometimes women are faced with challenges such as divorce, abuse, or simply the challenge of becoming a new mom, or the challenge of growing older. There are all kinds of things that women deal with, a little bit different than how men deal with it. So, here today to talk about the great work of the Women and Family Life Center in Guilford is my guest, Mariana Toyne. Welcome to the show, Mariana.
Thank you, Bernadette, for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Oh, wonderful. That's wonderful. So, as we usually do, could you please start off with telling the folks a little bit of an overview, a little bit of the mission of your organization?
Yes, of course. Women and Family Life has been around for 26 years. It started as a community outreach program from concerned citizens and women of St. George's Church. And it grew into a 501c3, and then we became our own organizations, starting programs to help women who face really serious challenges in life, anything from homelessness to divorce, domestic violence, or even bereavement. And then we have wonderful things that we do for women to, like you said, who are getting older, find them wonderful programs that enrich their lives, and have wellness programs like yoga, tai chi, a group for retired ladies, or new moms. So we span everything from birth to retirement.
Well, that's great. So in other words, you have two different kinds of programs. One program is kind of for gals to just come and do wonderful, healthy things for themselves. Yes. And then you have a separate group of programs that happen simultaneously, that for women who are facing some kind of challenge or crisis.
Yes. We divide it into wellness programs and what we like to call crisis programs. For the wellness, it's very straightforward. We offer different classes for yoga and tai chi. We help women, find creative ways to enjoy their retirement and keep their social connections going. So we have a strong group of 200 retired ladies who get together to play cards, have trips, outings, get together for all sorts of social things, help us volunteer at the center. And then we have the new moms who are really sometimes, as much as they enjoy babies, struggling to find their place, struggling to have friends.
For sure, for sure.
And then, on the crisis side, we have all the challenging things that can happen. You might be quite happily living your life, and then you're hit by divorce, or you find that your spouse becomes abusive, and you need to find a way out of this. Equally, we have children who lose parents through to illness, or parents who have suffered the loss of a child. And we work with groups to help them move forward into a better space. We have programs for people who are struggling financially, and we have wonderful volunteers who come and teach them how to budget. They teach them how to navigate their finances a little bit better. And we are very lucky to have pro bono lawyers who will come and speak to people free of charge about any subject that they need advice on to get them started on their journey.
Well, that is very good for everybody to know. And so what we'd like to do now is we're going to go through, Mariana has provided us with some slides that will show you, our viewers, exactly what the organization does, and we will describe, or Mariana will, I should say,
yes.
describe what each of these slides means to us. So there we go. So what's on this first screen, Mariana?
Well, we like to call our center the first open door to hope. Now, as you know, hope without a plan is really just a wish. and we make sure we have a roadmap for people to find an end destination. I like to say we're the bus station. We will find you the right bus to get you to your end destination. We want you to help you. We will advise you as best we can, but you don't need to linger here. We want you to live your life and put you on the right path.
Okay, so that's our first screen. It shows the front of the building, the sign, and empowering women and families to face challenges and life's transitions with grace and dignity. So the next slide, how about that one, Mariana?
Well, like the first slide said, every day somebody will come and knock on our door, or they will call us up in some kind of distress or looking for sometimes answers to very complex situations. And we are a wonderful resource to shoreline families, and we don't limit ourselves geographically. If you want to come from Tennessee and drive all the way, you're most welcome to do so. We never turn people away. We will try and find a way to help you out of your crisis.
Very good. Okay, so the next slide, how about that one?
Well, one way we help people is what we term guided referrals. When people come and tell us what the problem is, we find resources for them that help them on their way. We will check with different agencies we partner with who can be of assistance. For example, we can help them find housing. We can help them find resources for any children that are having emotional trauma, find them counseling. We can find them all kinds of things. And the other thing we do is we help them search the internet safely. Some of our women who come to see us are unable to use their phones or the internet at home because it's being monitored. And imagine yourself, you're an abused wife and your husband is monitoring every keystroke. You can't possibly look for help for counseling or for a divorce. So we offer the opportunity to come to our center, be safe, use our computers, our phone lines, and you can even store some confidential documentation so you can explore what your options are.
Very good, very good. Okay, so now the next slide is about domestic violence referrals. And so I think this is kind of self-explanatory. I think we're just looking at the screen. I slept all night for the first time in months, and I'm sure the Women and Family Life Center saved my life. So that's very powerful, is it not?
Yes, it is. And people do come to us, and they come when they're really at their wits' end and don't know where to turn. And we find ways for them, working with different agencies, to make sure they're safe. The first thing we always ask, are you safe where you are now, where you're calling?
Yes.
And we want to be the safe place for them, where they come, when the door closes, they're in a safe environment. They can tell us what they need to tell us, and we will find a path forward. If it's unsafe for them to go back, we will find a way. If there are other issues they need to consider, we had a case of a lady who actually had various health problems, lost her job, ended up homeless, had lost custody of her children because she couldn't keep the job down. And as she was trying to get back onto her feet and find her way and get the children back, she decided she couldn't afford a whole apartment. So she had to be a tenant for somebody, be a roommate.
Okay.
Well, unfortunately for her, the roommate turned out to be a drug dealer.
Oh,
and
my
she was
goodness.
in terrible danger. And she came to us, and we found her a way to get out of there. We found her a safe place straight away. We contacted other agencies and her church. We found somebody who could put her up temporarily for a few weeks. She could come use the Safe Search and find a job, and she was on her way a few weeks later.
Very good. So I can't imagine any woman that wouldn't appreciate this service. The next slide is lawyer time. And you mentioned that before, and I think we could go, this is rather straightforward, is
Yes,
it not?
It is. Basically, you can have half an hour free legal advice, and you just call up and we make an appointment, and our lawyers will talk to you about any subject matter. It could be anything from divorce, it could be custody issues, could be a DUI issue, could be estate issues or legacy issues. Whatever it is, we will make sure they can get you started on your journey there.
Very good. And then the next slide is the divorce support group.
That's been quite a popular group, because what happens to women when they go through divorce, they end up losing a lot of their social circle. And they need a place where they can vent, where they can get advice and start forming new connections with other women who are experiencing the same thing.
Right. I think it's true that, couples want to be with couples and
Yes.
single women want to be with single women, and now they find themselves in this new situation.
Yes, they do. And sometimes, you're friends with couples and then couples choose who they remain friends with.
Yes.
Or your economic situation has changed in such a way that you can't socialize with your old friends anymore.
Yeah.
And now you have half the income, if that, and you can't be going out all the time to the spa. You can't be going
Yeah.
out for dinner, and you have to watch your pennies. So that will decimate your friend circle.
I would think so. Okay, so the next slide is Smart Money and Financial Consults. So these are the workshops. I know a friend of mine works for the People's Bank, and he did a workshop for the folks recently.
Yes, Bob
Donahue of People's
Bob
Bank.
Donahue has been a wonderful help for us. He has been one of the people that we use, one of the experts, to advise people on budgeting and other financial matters. The other thing, we had recently a lady called, her husband unexpectedly died, and she had never dealt with the finances. And just to deal with probate and the financial side of everything, she can bring all her documentation and an expert will go through it. They're not selling a service.
Right, they're just giving advice.
Giving advice to help people find a way to manage.
Wonderful. Okay, so the next slide is the one we were talking about before about wellness and yoga. And doesn't that look lovely? So enrich your life through programs like yoga, Tai Chi, writing, and walking groups. So that's just a great thing.
It is one of our very popular programs, yoga and Tai Chi. And Tai Chi is actually open and yoga to men and women. It's not just restricted to women. It tends to be mostly women.
I would think mostly women would go to the Women in Life
Yes.
Family Center.
But, we do have other programs. And again, the retired ladies are very active, and some other, aspiring authors, they come to the writing groups, and people like to walk together in groups. It's more fun.
I think so. I think anytime you have a common interest, women
Yes.
love to share, and it's good to be with like-minded women.
It is, and it's good to be social and active in the community, not be isolated.
Isolated, yes. Okay, so the next slide. Oh, this is a lovely slide, and we were just chatting about this before the program got started. So, Mariana, I think you could speak to this very well. Lactation support and mom to moms.
Well, there's many mom groups that spring up spontaneously. Ours is a little bit more structured when, you might be new in town and you don't know anybody.
Right.
And we've had that, and you need to, just bounce some ideas of other new mothers who are bewildered like you are. And we have facilitators who come who are experts on lactation, and they will help you with your troubles and say, look, if the breastfeeding isn't working, is there something we can do, or do you need to just bite the bullet and just do the bottle? And they're the experts, and they will assess the situation, but they will also guide you through the process if you want to persist and make sure that everyone's doing the right
I
thing.
think it's terrible for a woman to feel guilty one way or the other.
I know.
Why should you feel guilty doing this or feel guilty doing that when the goal is to feed your baby? I mean, what difference does it make how the baby gets its nourishment?
I
It's
completely agree, and I think that is a very worthwhile group that sets it apart from just the friends getting together and chatting, because we do have experts who are there on hand who can really guide you.
Wonderful. And I think, is there one more slide? Yes. Oh, this is wonderful. Now, this slide talks about girls coach, girls run. And I don't think there's anything more important to a woman, I think, Mariana, you would agree, than a positive self-image in this crazy world that talks only about, for women, being physically beautiful. So I think you could chat to this slide. By age 15, girls are twice as likely as boys to become depressed. Why?
Well, the pressures of social media now and magazines, it's beyond magazines. Now all the children, the adolescent girls, as they're entering puberty, they're bombarded by these images of perfection. There's these special filters on all the phones that make everyone look pretty and beautiful and 20 pounds thinner, and that seems to be the norm, and nobody can live up to those photoshopped ideals. And we teach them about, look, this isn't reality. Even the most gorgeous women are photoshopped beyond recognition, and that's not a realistic ideal. You need to focus on health and having healthy lifestyles and having healthy relationships with friends and with, as you grow older, with your boyfriends. And just realizing, you should concentrate on shattering glass ceilings, not glass slippers.
Oh, thank you. I love it. We don't need to be Cinderella, do we?
No.
And I, we think we both can relate. I mean, I know I come from a different generation than you, but that pressure to just be pretty and then to almost dumb yourself down
Yes.
in front of other boys your age so that they will like you.
So they don't feel intimidated.
Yes,
and
it's-
the same pressure isn't there on the boys to be as physically fit and beautiful and always immaculately turned out.
Very
And,
good. Very
you know,
good indeed.
So we
Okay.
want to make sure that they feel empowered.
Absolutely. And we have one more slide that we don't want to regret because this is certainly appeals to me as I'm in that age group, women recreating retirement.
Now, this is one of our funnest group, and there are about 200 of them, and they do all kinds of drives. Last year, they had an Project Undercover, which was a drive to collect new underwear and things for women's shelters, because when you flee your house, you're not going to pack your 10 bras and bunch of underpants.
no.
Sometimes you just leave with
the clothes on your back.
And shelters often will have regular clothing or sweaters or t-shirts they can give to you, but nobody really thinks of stashing bucket loads of underwear.
There you go. I love it.
The ladies came up with Project Undercover, and that was a huge success. But they also do other things. They help us in the office by volunteering and during events, and they're just having a ball. They organize so many social activities, from trips to the Brooklyn Botanic Gardens to luncheons and dinners and girls' night out, theater. They're a very lively, active bunch. They have a ball.
That's wonderful. Okay, so that ends our slides for now. And we had a lot of fun looking at them and talking over them. So I hope you kind of realize that we were still here. We were just talking to the slides. So thank you very much. I can't imagine any woman in the shoreline area or anywhere in Connecticut that wouldn't want to be a part of that. Which leads us to some other quick points that we want to make before we get too carried away. How is your agency staffed? Who does all this wonderful stuff? I know you do, but in addition to your wonderful work, who helps you?
Well, we have a part-time staff of 5, and then we are being helped by an army of volunteers who come and donate their time, be it the lawyers and the financial consultants for our programs, or the ladies from the WRR, as we call them, who come and man the office, take the phone calls, take messages, help us set up for meetings, to paid people who come and run some of the programs that are very specific, like the divorce support group, that's a therapist, or like the lactation specialist. So we do have some professionals who come, and they are very good to us. They work for peanuts.
Right,
to
they do
come
get
and
paid,
provide.
but they get paid.
We can't afford much.
Yes, we can, and they know that. And I think women like helping women.
Yes.
And also men in our community like reaching out and helping as well.
They do.
And they realize that they're not going to be paid what they might be paid on the lecture circuit.
Yes, that's true.
That's very true. So that takes care of that part. Now, we started talking about the privacy issue when we were talking about the internet and gals needing to come to you. So why don't we talk a little bit more about privacy?
We are very concerned that whoever comes to our place feels completely safe to tell their story and sit there and speak to us. One way that we ensure the privacy is we make sure nobody can tell why you're there.
That's right,
So
because you have the two kinds of groups.
We have many programs. You could be there dropping off a donation check. We love you. You could be there, helping out as a volunteer or coming to one of the wellness programs. Or equally, you could be there, worried about something and need help. And we are there. We make sure we don't put your name in anything. That's why we'll never see pictures of people. I was abused, and this is my picture and my success story.
Of course not. That would be awful.
And it's
Yeah.
awful, and it's a small community, so staying incognito is very important for people. You don't want your dirty laundry aired. And we would, even if I saw you on the street, Bernadette, if you came to our center for some
Right.
reason, I would never refer to it. It would be as if it had never happened.
Absolutely, and I think that's so respectful. It's so respectful.
No, they can't feel safe without the anonymity.
Right, the privacy. Now, we were also talking about people not thinking that women in Branford, Madison, Guilford, Old Saybrook, or any of those communities might have an issue with struggling with their finances, because we think of these as the wealthy communities in New Haven County. But you were chatting with me about that, so
Yes.
let's talk about that again.
Yes, it is quite deceiving because people think of poverty and working poor as an inner city problem.
Yes.
But the United Way publishes these ALICE reports and does some research, and it's shown that the poverty is moving out into the suburbs. People are losing their jobs as big companies are leaving Connecticut. The cost of living is extremely high, taxes are high, and people might have had a fabulous middle class life. The main breadwinner loses their job, can only get a job if they get one eventually at half the pay, and now the family is eating into the
Their
reserves
savings,
and they're sliding further into poverty, and it takes them a while to realize, well, I'm going to adjust things, and it can lead to a situation where we had last year, a family of 4 had a special needs child, so the mother couldn't work. When the father lost his job,
Oh my goodness,
he
how
could-
could they do that?
and then he could only get a job in sales that didn't pay the bills.
Right,
They ended
right.
up losing their home, living in a van when they came to us.
Yeah, and yet still being a resident
I know.
of a wealthy town that we
Yes.
wouldn't think so. So that's why I think your organization can help people, women and families in so many ways, even though you're located in what people think are a wealthy community.
Well, in our wealthy community, we have 15,000 families who are struggling, who cannot make financial ends meet.
Wow, so that's
And
an important statistic
that is
to
a
know.
huge statistic that is really not well known.
Well, I'm so glad that your center is there to help
Yes.
assist those families, those families with all the things that we saw on the slide. Okay, so now I know there's a great website that everybody can go to learn about this organization. So I hope you'll go there. But also now I'd like to talk about funding. We're going to talk about renovations.
Yes,
We're
exciting
going to talk
stuff.
about great stuff. So how is your wonderful organization funded?
Well, unlike a lot of agencies, we get almost no government money, and over 95% of the funding for our center comes from private donations, whether we get it from private family foundations where we write grants, whether it's just donations from our annual appeals where we write to people, or sometimes we have special events that we, raise the money from.
Very good. So now we want to show, we're going to go back to this slide that's going to show a wonderful program, a drive that the center had to renovate their space. And then while you see the slide, Marianne, there it is.
Yeah.
Mariana, why did you want to renovate your space?
Well, as you can see, the house is 200 years old. It
200 years
yes,
old.
It needs a little TLC, and we want to make sure that we can expand our program. We've seen a huge increase in the last 3 or 4 years. The people who come have almost doubled.
Wow.
Looking for our services. So we needed to make these spaces multifunctional. And we had hand-me-down furniture that didn't really lend itself to being rearranged. It was terribly heavy and not very user-friendly. By renovating it and renovating the kitchen to turn it into another meeting room, we have really increased our program capacity. We can run more programs for more people and have a warm, welcoming feeling. So when you talk about hope, you need to project hope. You need to look as
Very
hopeful
good
as
point.
you are.
Very good point.
And it's very important for people to know when they walk through the door that this isn't as good as it gets and it's all falling down around them.
Yes.
They need to know there is life forward and this is just a hurdle.
And I think too, like whenever you're in a space, the space also influences how you feel.
Yes.
So having a healthy, happy, light-filled space is very positive.
That's the idea, and we raised nearly $500,000 to do this, and this also comes with a new position.
Okay, so now we want to show another slide that talks about a fundraiser. So this is your fundraiser, the Men Who Cook Gala fundraiser. So Mariana, I think I recognize Ted Kennedy in that slide.
Yes, he's been our chef for a few years, and it's about 30 amateur chefs who come and cook for about 250 people. And there's a little chef competition in there. They're very competitive, the chefs. They're all amateurs, but they're very talented, and they cook delicious food. And it's our our biggest fundraiser of the year. It raises about 20% of our operating budget.
20%, that's great. So I could see from the screen it's at the Guilford Yacht Club. God bless the Guilford Yacht Club for hosting you from 5 to 8:30. And of course, it's in October, but we need to gear up now because the organization, of course, is looking for sponsors and auction items. So that's swell. So thank you for that slide. Okay, so what I'd like to talk a little bit now, expanding your staff, growing, these are all other things that funds are needed for. So
That's
I know
right.
you're always looking for good people.
We are, once our center reopens after Labor Day.
After Labor Day,
After
okay.
Labor Day, our renovations are supposed to be done. Then we will have more need for volunteers again. And we are going to find another staff person who will deal specifically with the casework. And that's part of the $500,000 fundraising drive for our capital campaign, so we can help more people.
Okay, so now that we've gone through all the wonderful things and we've talked about the fundraiser and we've talked about the website and everything, I just think it's wonderful for you and I to just chat about the beauty of being a woman and the importance of women helping women. Don't you agree that when we help each other and support each other, it's a good thing? I find sometimes women in business can get a little too competitive sometimes, but yet when we need help and we reach out, it's there. Isn't that true?
I think so. I think everyone is competitive. I know men are competitive, but they compete differently. And I think women have to embrace the same spirit that we're not a competition with each other. The more we help each other, behind every successful woman is like a tribe of other women who've really mentored this person and helped them along. And if we can embrace that, then we'll do so much better.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think that's great. And so we have a final slide where it has a collage of pictures that shows the 26 years of the Women and Family Life Center of Guilford helping families. And there you could see the girls who run. You could see all the wonderful aspects, don't we, Mariana, of all the wonderful things your organization has done for the past 26 years.
I mean, over the years, we've helped thousands of people, and annually it's about 1,000 people that come through our doors or call us and look for help. And we've had such support from the community to help us do this.
Very good.
So
now we want to put up a screen in case you want to contact Mariana and the Women and Family Life Center. So could we have the contact screen? There we are. So my lovely guest is your contact person. She is the development director. There's the phone number, and there's that all-important website, www.womenandfamilylife.org. And I hope you'll go there, and I hope you keep October 22nd on your calendar to get to see some of those great chefs. So thank you for that slide.
Yes, it's an event not to be missed. It's
Not
a lot
to
of
be
fun.
missed,
It's
not
a
to be
lot of
missed.
fun.
It's a lot of fun. So we are running out of time. I can't believe how quickly our half an hour has gone. But I want to thank everybody for watching our show today. And I just want to give a shout out again to the wonderful organizations that support the Women in Life Center, such as the People's Bank and the other financial planners, the women who volunteer and help other women, and the hope that this organization gives to women, whether they're having fun or whether they're dealing with a difficult situation. It's just a wonderful thing when you know that there's a place to go, no matter what. So I'm Bernadette Welsh for Community Works. Thank you to my guest, Mariana.
Thank you,
so
Bernadette.
much. It was great. And we hope to see you again for another edition of Community Works. Bye-bye.